Hi there. This is training for appointed election observers, produced by the North Carolina State Board of Elections. This training is designed to explain the laws and rules that apply to the conduct of observers. This presentation cannot cover every scenario that could occur. It is designed to address what the vast majority of observers will experience at the polls. Here's what observers are allowed to do. Observe. Watch the conduct of voting, but not how voters vote their ballot. This includes taking notes in the voting place, including on an electronic device. But keep in mind video or audio recording in the voting place is prohibited. Observers are also allowed to obtain a list of voters who have voted at the site that day at least at the following times: 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 4 p.m. Observers are also allowed to view authorization to vote forms, ATVs, which are signed by voters at check-in. The chief judge can provide these documents to the observer. Here are some other things observers are specifically allowed to do. Listening to non-private conversations between a voter and election official. Witnessing the opening and closing procedures already discussed. Taking photographs inside the voting place before voting begins and after voting has concluded, as long as it does not impede any election officials or compromise the security of ballots, election equipment, or election results. But keep in mind that tabulator configuration reports may not be photographed, because they display security features of the voting system. Election officials are authorized to stop any improper recording. Observers are allowed to move about the voting enclosure. This includes leaving and re-entering the voting enclosure, and moving around the voting place inside and going to the curbside voting area. But, observers should never position themselves where they may compromise ballot secrecy or voters' confidential information. Observers should not be in the voting booth area where voted ballots can be seen, or stationed next to a tabulator so they can see a voter's ballot when they put it in the tabulator. They should not be so close to a curbside voter's vehicle to be able to see how the voter is voting. If a voter needs to have a private conversation with a poll worker that's not about the conduct of voting, the poll worker can tell an observer to give distance and respect the voter's privacy. Observers can also communicate and report issues. This includes making phone calls outside of the voting enclosure, texting in the voting enclosure, reporting any problems to the chief judge. The political parties will sometimes have a reporting system for observers to report problems to their party. The parties use this reporting system to determine whether to escalate situations to officials. The political parties and state election staff are in regular communication during the conduct of voting, to ensure that voting goes smoothly and in accordance with the law. Here's what observers may not do. Interfere with voters. It's illegal to impede the access of any voter to the voting place. Interfere with a voter at any point inside the voting enclosure, including questioning voters. A voter's qualifications are determined by election officials. The only way to legally question those qualifications is through a proper voter challenge, based on evidence. Observers also may not harass or intimidate voters. What is voter intimidation? It is a crime under state and federal law and can take many forms. It can include physical threats, or threats of economic harm, legal action, dissemination of personal information, and surveillance. To spot signs of voter intimidation, election officials are instructed to ask themselves whether the specific circumstances facing the voter would make the voter reasonably fearful, threatened, or coerced during the voting process, considering those circumstances from the voter's point of view. What observers may not do. Violate voter privacy. It's illegal to look at, photograph, videotape, or otherwise record the image of any voter's marked ballot. Attempt to see how a voter voted, or reveal how a voter voted, if learned. It's illegal to photograph, videotape, or otherwise record the image of any voter within the voting enclosure, except with the permission of both the voter and the chief judge. It's illegal to retain a voter's confidential information, signature, full or partial social security number, date of birth, the identity of the public agency at which the registrant registered, any email address submitted for the voter's registration, or driver's license number. What observers may not do. Interfere with the conduct of the election. It's illegal to harass, assault, or intimidate election officials. Inhibit or interfere with any election official in the performance of their duties. This includes when election officials are processing or instructing voters, counting the votes, or transporting election materials or equipment. It's illegal to remove official election records from the voting site that could compromise the ability to determine the official results. Engage in electioneering, including wearing campaign paraphernalia in the voting site. Knowingly swear falsely on a voter challenge form. Make or receive phone calls in the voting place. Appointed observers from all parties, abiding by the rules, are welcome at the voting site. Election officials believe in the transparent conduct of elections. On behalf of all election workers in the state of North Carolina, thank you for volunteering your time to participate in the elections process. If you have questions, contact your county board of elections, or email the state board at elections.sboe@ncsbe.gov.